If you don't leave right now, we're calling the police." The waitress's voice was cold and final. Cassius Clay stood there, Olympic gold medal still shining on his chest. He'd earned it just 48 hours ago for his country. But in this Louisville restaurant, that medal meant nothing. What Cassius didn't know was that in the next 5 minutes, he would make a decision that would haunt him for years. And that decision would eventually transform him into Muhammad Ali. October 26, 1960, Louisville, Kentucky. 2 days earlier, this city had poured into the streets for Cassius Clay. There'd been a parade. The mayor had shaken his hand. Newspapers ran headlines celebrating our hometown hero. Television crews had interviewed him. Little kids had asked for his autograph. For the first time in his life, Cassius Clay felt like he truly belonged to this city. The 22-year-old boxer, who'd returned from the Rome Olympics with a gold medal, wasn't just another kid anymore. He was a hero. At least, that's what they said. The same people who'd crossed the street to avoid him a year ago were now lining up to shake his hand. Cassius felt different wearing that medal. He walked taller. He smiled wider. People recognized him. Even white men smiled at him, congratulated him, called him champ. Store owners who'd watched him suspiciously before now invited him inside. Maybe everything has changed, he thought. Maybe this medal really does mean something. His mother, Catherine, had warned him that morning. She'd been frying eggs in the kitchen when Cassius came downstairs wearing his best clothes and his Olympic medal around his neck. "Where are you going dressed like that?" she'd asked. "Downtown. Just walking around, letting people see the medal." Catherine had stopped what she was doing and turned to face her son. She'd seen that look in his eyes before, that hopeful, trusting look that broke her heart because she knew what was coming. "Cassius, that medal doesn't change anything here. Louisville is still Louisville. Mama, I represented this country. I won gold. Things can't stay the same. Baby, I'm proud of you. You know I am. But that medal, it's just metal. It doesn't change what's in people's hearts." "You're wrong, Mama. I've seen it. The way people look at me now, everything's different." Catherine looked at the hope in her son's eyes and sighed. She knew, as a mother, she already knew the painful lesson her son was about to learn. But some things people had to experience for themselves. "Just be careful," she said quietly. Cassius went downtown with his brother Rudolph. He hadn't taken the medal off since he'd gotten home from Rome. He wanted everyone to see it. Everywhere he stopped, people wanted photographs. They wanted autographs. They wanted to touch the medal, to hold it, to feel its weight. This was what he dreamed of. Not just the medal itself, but what it represented. Acceptance, respect, belonging. "See," he told Rudy as they walked down 4th Street. "Everything's changed. They see us differently now." That medal proved something. Rudy was more cautious. He'd seen the smiles and the handshakes too. But he'd also noticed something his brother hadn't. Most of these people congratulated Cassius on the street, but they didn't invite him into their homes. The praise was real, but it was also limited, conditional. Rudy didn't share his brother's optimism, but he said nothing. It was 2 p.m. The October sun was warm. They'd been walking for hours, and Cassius was hungry. "Let's grab something to eat," he said, pointing to a restaurant on Main Street. Nice place, white tablecloths in the windows. The kind of place Cassius had walked past 1,000 times but never considered entering. Rudy stopped walking. "Cassius, we can't go in there." "Why not?" "I'm hungry." "Brother, you know why. That was before. I'm an Olympic champion now." "Cassius, you're still black. A medal doesn't change that. Today it does. Watch and see." When Cassius opened the restaurant door, a bell chimed inside. It was a classic American diner. Red leather booths, shiny chrome details, rotating stools at the counter, everything clean and bright. And every table was full. With white families, Cassius stepped inside. The medal swung on his chest, catching the light, gleaming. For a moment, he felt invincible. Conversations slowly died. Forks froze midair. Heads turned. The entire restaurant went quiet. A waitress walked toward him from behind the counter. Middle-aged, carefully styled hair, crisp uniform. Her name tag said Dorothy. There was no smile on her face. "Can I help you?" Her voice was polite but cold. "Yes, ma'am. We'd like to eat. 2 hamburgers, please. And 2 Coca-Colas." The waitress didn't even blink. "We can't serve you here." The words didn't register at first. Cassius had been so certain that his brain couldn't process what he was hearing. "I'm sorry. What?" "We can't serve you here, but I'm an Olympic champion. Do you see this medal? I won it for America. I just got back from Rome." For the first time, the woman looked at the medal. She studied it for 2 seconds. She saw the gold, the Olympic rings, Roma 1960 engraved on it. Then she looked back into Cassius's eyes. Her expression didn't change. "That's very nice. Congratulations. But we can't serve you here." Cassius's heart raced. His throat went dry. "Why not?" "You know why." "No, ma'am. I really don't. Please tell me." The waitress glanced at the other customers, then back at Cassius. "I don't make the rules. I just work here. But you know the policy." "What policy?" Dorothy didn't answer with words. She pointed to the wall beside the cash register. A small sign, white background, black letters, whites only. Cassius stared at that sign. He'd seen signs like it his entire life. On water fountains, on bathrooms, on swimming pools and movie theaters. But somehow, wearing his Olympic medal, he'd forgotten. Or maybe he'd just hoped. The words hit him like a punch to the gut. Rudy put his hand on his brother's arm. "Let's go." But Cassius didn't move. He held up his medal with both hands. "Ma'am, I won this medal for this country. I represented the United States in Rome. Our national anthem played when I won. Our flag went up. The whole world watched an American champion. And you're telling me I can't eat a hamburger in my own hometown?" Dorothy's face softened slightly. For a moment, Cassius saw something like pity in her eyes. But then it was gone. "I'm sorry. I truly am. But that's the rule. We don't serve coloreds here. If you don't leave right now, I'm going to have to call the police." The silence was suffocating. Every person in that room was watching. Every single person could have spoken up, could have said this was wrong. Nobody did. An elderly man sat by the window, reading a newspaper. He looked at Cassius over his paper. Their eyes met. Then he looked away and continued reading. A young couple in a corner booth. The woman whispered to her husband. He shook his head and put his hand over hers. "Stay out of it." They both looked down at their food. A family with 2 young boys. One boy stared at Cassius with wide eyes. His father noticed and whispered something harsh. The boy's eyes snapped back to his plate. Nobody helped. Cassius slowly turned around. The metal felt heavy now, like lead instead of gold. He walked toward the door. Rudy followed. The door seemed impossibly far away. Behind them, the moment the door closed, conversations resumed. Forks clinked. Within seconds, it was as if nothing had happened. Outside, the sunshine felt wrong. Too bright, too cheerful. Cassius's hands were shaking. From anger, from humiliation, from heartbreak. "I told you," Rudy said quietly, not meanly, just sadly. "Shut up. Just don't." They walked in silence. 2 blocks, 3, 4, past other restaurants, past stores, past people who smiled and waved. Completely unaware, Cassius kept touching the metal. It felt different now. Tarnished somehow, even though the gold still gleamed. "What did I win this for?" he whispered. "What the hell did I win this for?" When Cassius finally got home that evening, his mother saw his face, saw his eyes, saw everything she'd known he would feel. What happened? Cassius said nothing. He just went upstairs, closed his door, and sat on his bed staring at the metal. The gold still gleamed. The engravings were still sharp. Nothing about the metal itself had changed, but everything about what it meant had changed. It was supposed to be proof. Proof that if you were good enough, worked hard enough, you would be accepted. But it wasn't proof of anything. It was just a piece of metal. In the following weeks, life continued. People still stopped Cassius on the street, still asked for autographs, He obliged because he didn't know what else to do. 2 weeks later, Cassius tried again. Different restaurant, different part of town. Maybe it would be different. Same sign, same refusal, same humiliation. A month later, a gas station. He needed the restroom. Coloreds around back. The colored restroom was filthy. No soap, no paper towels. The metal didn't change any of it. He tried a movie theater. He could buy a ticket, but had to sit in the balcony. The colored section. Each rejection was a fresh wound. Each reminder that the metal meant nothing was another crack in what Cassius had believed about himself and his country. He stopped wearing the metal, put it in a drawer, then stopped looking at it altogether. Years later, when Cassius Clay had become Muhammad Ali, a reporter asked him about the 1960 Olympics. Whatever happened to that medal? Do you still have it? Ali was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, quieter, harder. I threw that medal off a bridge. What? Really? Really? After I got back to Louisville. One night, maybe a month after I got home. I was walking by the Ohio River. I stood on that bridge and looked at it and thought about what it was supposed to mean and what it actually meant, and I threw it as far as I could. Why? Because it was a lie. That medal promised me that if I worked hard enough, I would be treated like everyone else. But that was bullshit. I won that medal for America, and America still wouldn't let me eat at a lunch counter. Some historians question whether this story is literally true, but the emotional truth is undeniable. Whether Cassius threw it away or not, the medal stopped meaning what it was supposed to mean. That breaking changed him. Fundamentally, standing in front of that whites-only sign with his gold medal around his neck, 22-year-old Cassius Clay understood something he'd never fully grasped before. In America's eyes, heroism was conditional. You could be a champion in Rome, but back home, you were still just a black man. This realization politicized him, made him question everything about his country and his place in it. If Olympic gold couldn't earn him a seat at a lunch counter, what could? The answer, he decided, was nothing. Nothing would ever be enough as long as he was trying to earn acceptance from a system designed to reject him. That's when Cassius Clay started to die, and Muhammad Ali started to be born. In 1964, after defeating Sonny Liston, Cassius shocked the world by announcing he joined the Nation of Islam and was changing his name to Muhammad Ali. When reporters asked why he'd rejected the name Cassius Clay, he gave them an answer they didn't want to hear. Cassius Clay is a slave name. I didn't choose it. Muhammad Ali is my name. The name I chose. And I don't care if you like it or not. The rejection in that Louisville restaurant had taught him something crucial. He didn't need their approval. He could create his own identity, define himself on his own terms, and it cost him. When Ali refused to be drafted into Vietnam in 1967, he was stripped of his title, banned from boxing, lost the prime years of his career, lost millions, lost the approval of white America, but he never lost himself, never compromised, never backed down. That strength was forged in the fires of that October day in 1960, in that restaurant, in that moment of rejection. Atlanta Olympics. Muhammad Ali stood in Olympic Stadium. His hands trembled from Parkinson's. His movements were slow, but when they handed him the Olympic torch, something happened. The trembling slowed. His back straightened. The crowd roared. The same country that had rejected him was now honoring him as the greatest. After the ceremony, officials presented Ali with a replacement gold medal. Ali held it in his shaking hands, looked at it for a long time. A reporter asked what he was thinking. Ali smiled. I was thinking about the first one, about how much it meant when I won it, how I thought it would change everything. Did it change everything? Yeah, just not the way I thought it would. Today, if you visit Louisville, you can see the Muhammad Ali Center. You can visit the building that used to be that restaurant. There's a plaque celebrating Ali's achievements. What that plaque doesn't say is that in October 1960, Olympic champion Cassius Clay was refused service there because of his skin color. It doesn't say a 22-year-old boy walked in believing his gold medal had earned him a place in society and walked out understanding the bitter truth. It doesn't say that rejection helped create Muhammad Ali, who would refuse to compromise, who would sacrifice everything for his principles, who would inspire millions. History loves its neat narratives. Louisville celebrates Ali now, claims him as their hometown hero. But the truth is messier, harder, more painful. The truth is that Cassius Clay walked into that restaurant with a champion's pride and was treated like his achievements meant nothing because of his skin color. And that rejection was as important to creating Muhammad Ali as any punch he ever threw. Because sometimes the greatest victories come from our deepest defeats. Sometimes rejection teaches us who we really are. Sometimes medals don't matter as much as we think. What matters is what you do after the rejection. After the world tells you that you don't belong. Cassius Clay learned that the hard way. And from that lesson, Muhammad Ali was born. A man who refused to be defined by others. Who spoke truth even when it cost him everything. Who fought not just in the ring, but for justice and dignity. The young man who walked into that Louisville restaurant was looking for acceptance, looking for proof that his achievements mattered. The man who walked out was beginning to understand that he didn't need their acceptance, that real freedom couldn't be granted by others, that true dignity came from within. It took years for that understanding to fully form. But the seed was planted that day, in that restaurant, and from that seed grew one of the most important figures of the 20th century. Not just a great athlete, but a great human being. Someone who showed the world what courage means, what conviction means, what it means to refuse to compromise who you are. That's Muhammad Ali's real legacy. Not the fights he won, but the example he set, the path he walked, the truth he spoke. And it all started with a gold medal that couldn't buy a hamburger in Louisville, Kentucky.